Hi, Matt McAleer, Director of Equity Strategies, Cumberland Advisors, Feb 24th, just after the close with our friend Shaun Burgess, Portfolio Manager, Analyst in our fixed income area. Wow, second week in a row where the inflation hammer started hitting us.
They were not pretty numbers, and the market reacted as such. It was pretty dreary moves we've seen on the interest rate side of things, at least in response to it. It was a continuation of what we saw last week. Another week of more of the same. So,
yeah, we had been. It seems like we had. When I say we, country-wise, market-wise, making progress against inflation. And we were speaking to a client earlier. Mm-hmm. That move from 8% inflation to 5% inflation. That was the easy part.
Yep.
Now it's getting a little tougher, right? Tougher to really engage that downward pressure.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it in the bond market. We've moved in the course of 4 or 5 weeks from about 345 on the 10-year to 395.
390-ish area, yeah.
You seeing any 5% munis again?
That's where it's not a great environment when you see yields go up, but we see it as an opportunity.
Of course.
We're seeing some 5%, saw our first 5% print this week on a nice high-quality housing deal. We don't know if that's going to continue, but we're definitely looking to take advantage of it because we haven't seen 5% now since what? Maybe last year, late last year when we would talk about it?
Yeah, and that was John Mousseau's kind of line in the sand. If he could be a heavy buyer at 5+, and it didn't stay above 5 for long.
No,
it was a
didn't.
couple weeks
really
worth of issues
below 5.
and fell. We'll see this time. It's very difficult to try to make predictions on where the markets are going. We'll just try to stay flexible. And often the Fed gets a lot of headlines. But the reality is our job is to position capital regardless of what the Fed's doing.
Yep.
In terms of what they're saying and what they're doing, they're not buying or selling for us. We have to make those decisions in light of the environment. And this week, equity-wise, it was a pretty busy week here at Cumberland. In our US equity, we've been defensive. Took that cash a little higher Tuesday and Wednesday. We pared back in some of the alternative energy areas. Lithium batteries was one we got rid of. We also pared back and sold biotech. Biotech had been hanging in there pretty well, had actually been one of the leaders year to date. When you start getting those higher rates, the growthier names can really hurt you.
Start to suffer.
So we're up to, in our US ETF portfolio, we're back up north of 30% in cash. That's a heavy number. That's a high number. In our on the flip side, in our international and our tactical portfolio, we added a name. We added a international value name this week. We had been waiting for some of that international value to pull back, 350, 360 type dividend. So we just added a slice, a slug, a starter position there. Again, we've been defensive on the equity side as a whole, carrying an awful lot of cash from a traditional benchmark standpoint, but we're going to get opportunities. That's the thing about these weeks. Miserable week if we're just looking at pricing. But what we do know, just like multiple times last year, which was a miserable year, but plenty of opportunity throughout the year. Mm-hmm. So these kind of weeks will create opportunity. In terms of what we'll be looking for, I still can't get shaken off of on new capital, on money we're putting where I can't get shaken off of that value or blend area. These higher rates, I still think on some of the growthier names are going to act as a cap. Yeah. Where we do own growth, it's that bullet, strong balance sheet growth. Heavy cash flow that they can put to work into opportunities themselves. So we'll see how that works. But what we do know is we're going to be looking at volatility starting to rise, opportunities in multiple asset classes, and we just have to stay focused, keep some of that powder dry, and when the opportunity comes, don't be afraid to swing.
Yep.
Always have that conversation.
That's why that cash position looks really nice when you have those opportunities.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, and we may have some midweek fireworks, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that you can get a note from us following along on our videos. In terms of the weekend, Shaun, enjoy it, get some rest.
Definitely will.
We'll be back at it on Monday.
You too, Matt.
Have a nice weekend.